Today we might wonder, what's the big deal about the rights and freedoms that the Constitution protects? Although we know those protections are actually very important, most Americans today have probably not had to worry about abuses against them by the government. For example, the government won't take away the right to vote. Citizens are protected from discrimination, and someone arrested for a crime can't be imprisoned without a trial. These are just a few examples of the civil rights the U.S. government protects. For Americans, these rights are accepted as part of everyday life, but people in other parts of the world do not have the same freedoms. And even as recently as the 1960s, some of these rights weren't protected for all people in the United States. As a new nation, the United States allowed slavery. It wasn't until the Civil War that slavery was abolished. Think about it. The Civil War ended about 150 years ago. That means African Americans in the United States have been free from slavery for only 150 years. After the Civil War, African Americans still weren't completely free. In many areas of the country, laws were passed to keep newly freed slaves from claiming their rights. These laws made for a segregated society in which whites and blacks were legally required to be separated. This legal separation lasted well into the 1900s. Other groups in the United States experienced inequality, and some still experience it to this day. It wasn't until 1920, less than 100 years ago, that women were allowed to vote after the country passed a women's suffrage law. American Indians weren't considered U.S. citizens until the mid-1920s. People with disabilities had no protections against discrimination until the 1970s. So you see the pattern. Protections of civil rights are still evolving. Throughout U.S. history, the nation's citizens and government have worked hard to bring about the protections that we enjoy today.